3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to our live session. We are back with you again. We are back with you again, and as we promised, our expert is with you today. So we couldn't wait to have another session because it's so exciting. And so we're talking about diversifying accounting services. Today we are at session number 5. We are privileged to have Peter Towers, our business advisory expert, with us live. He is generous with his time, and he's sharing his experiences with us today. Welcome, Peter.
Yes, thank you very much, Priscilla. Good day, everyone. I hope you're going well. It's great to see some of the restrictions are being reduced around Australia, so hopefully everyone's going to be back to normal soon.
Thanks, Peter, and let's see what we can share with our audience today. I am Priscilla B. Smith, tax agent, senior accountant, partner at Cloud9 Associates. I am a VIP member of SB's Tools, and Peter Towers is a business advisory expert at SB's Tools. SB's Tools Comeu is the amazing platform we're going to always talk about. And this is what Peter's work of a lifetime over there. Let's see what we can share today. So welcome, Peter, and session 5. Before we start, we would like to hear your mission statement and your passion about building advisory tools for accountants.
Thanks, Priscilla. I think accountants who have all studied at university and then undertaken postgraduate undertakings to become a member of the CPAs or the Institute of Chartered Accountants or the other organisations have all been trained to give real business advice to businesses, whether they're large or whether they're SMEs. So I think the challenge for accountants is to break the nexus with taxation, not to get rid of taxation, I'm not advocating that, but to be able to move and help a select group of business clients. It might mean that you need less clients because you're going to be doing more work for them to help them run their businesses in a more effective and profitable basis. The failure rate of SMEs is still very high in Australia. We've got the longest debtors days outstanding in the world. There's a lot of problems with the Australian SME businesses that I really believe accountants are the key professional group who can help those SME operators run better businesses. So that's the vision, Priscilla, that I have. I see that ESS BizTools is supplying a range of products. We document it all, we do the hard writing, and then the training through videos and webinars and other manners to bring this to the fingertips of accountants to then be able to use with your clients.
Thanks, Peter, for building those tools for us. Today, as we go through your white paper, which our series are based on, today we are at promotion, marketing, or diversified services, and where you can find promotional tools. Now, Peter is going to share with us all his knowledge about these subjects: promotion, marketing tools, where to find the tools and resources, how to implement a successful marketing strategy, and running a modern practice and promote it. We're going to touch on the modern practice. This is my I built the modern practice, and next week we're going to actually elaborate about how to run the modern practice when we're going to talk about innovation next week. So Peter, we will start with a challenge for accountants in promoting business advisory services. What are the most challenging issues the accountants face while promoting marketing the diversified services they offer? What is the most challenging issues?
I think having participated in a few of our podcasts of late with some of our other affiliates, there's no doubt in my mind that time management is one of the biggest issues. I conducted a podcast with Andrew Geddes, who I think is an Australian accounting legend, and for 10 years was the chair of Green Cross Limited, a business that grew from a very small veterinary surgery practice in Townsville to become a top 200 ASX company over a 30-year period. Andrew Geddes was the key consultant for that company for that whole journey. And Andrew indicated to me some time ago that the key to Green Cross was that they had introduced scaling up processes 15 years ago. So I got him to undertake a podcast with me 2 weeks ago where he discussed scaling up to develop the team within a business, and he targeted at accountants. Now, as we got near the end of it, I said, when do you believe accountants should be doing this? In view of everyone being busy, can they do this in 6 months' time? And he literally jumped down the 1,000 kilometers distance from where I was that he was at and said, no, they start it now, this afternoon. This is important. Accountants need to change. So Priscilla, I'm going to send you the link to that recording. In fact, I think you've already got it. I'd like you to make it available to everyone that's watching this video or watching it later on, because I think it sends an important message. Geddes is really saying that accountants have got a huge challenge in looking at the work that you're doing, because every accountant around Australia is complaining, well, the ones that talk to me are complaining they're having trouble getting staff, they're trouble getting accountants. Andrew Geddes is saying it's because you're giving them too much compliance work, too much annual accounts and taxation. You need to vary it. Quite frankly, I've been saying the same thing for a long time also, but I'll bow to him making the comment. So he's saying, get out and look at what your clients are doing. You've got a whole resource of work probably staring you in the face. Go and talk to the clients, get some more interesting work, and that is the challenge for you to address, and that will then assist you in overcoming the problems of retaining your staff and then hiring new staff as you need them.
Well, you started to touch on the training the team how to promote and market the new services. So we started to touch on the time management, and then the challenge again, how to train the team to actually incorporate this in their schedule.
Yes, well, I'm going to comment on that with a bit of what Geddes said, as well as what's already in ESS BizTools, if I can, Priscilla. Within ESS BizTools, we have a business advisory services training package. It's 13 modules. It takes you through the way I think firms should go about implementing business advisory services. I conducted another podcast last week with Mark Holton. Mark is a director of Smith Inc., a company that Andrew Geddes was involved with. He was a director in that company also. That company has got a reputation around Australia for running great implementation strategies within firms to get you using business advisory services. Mark indicated that's a similar problem, that accountants need to systemize the approach. He made a comment that his observation is that for the last 25 years, every firm he's spoken to has done some aspect of business advisory services. But his criticism is that there's no ongoing systems being introduced. The work is done on a one-off basis, so no efficiencies get developed. That was really his message, and then you can listen to the podcast message with, or interview with Mark Holton on the ESS BizTools podcast as well. Andrew Geddes is saying that you need to be looking at your client mix, where your sources of work are coming from. And it might mean that you've got to reduce your number of clients over a period, because you won't be able to handle 50 or 60 clients who all want you to be involved on a very regular basis with them as their virtual chief financial officer, or most of you won't. So I think it's a combination, Priscilla, of listening to what the experts in the marketplace like Geddes and Holton are saying, and looking at the material that we've got in ESS BizTools, which goes through the process of saying, this is different. It is different to the annual accounts and tax returns. And remember, no client is under any sort of obligation to come to you for any sort of advisory services. Their only obligation, as Mark Holton put it, was to get their tax return done. And he considered business advisory services was anything that the government didn't require you to do. So it's a very broad sheet of paper. I hope that explains it. And it's going to vary from firm to firm, because some firms are already further down the track on this than others. And it's going to involve making sure that your team have been trained. Geddes suggests that whenever you go and see a client, you should make sure you've got a young accountant with you. When you have a board meeting with, or meeting in your boardroom with a client, have a young accountant there, because he said it's up to the leaders of the profession to make sure the younger generation are trained as quickly as possible in these skill areas if accountants are really going to claim this business advisory space as being one of the key areas that accountants are involved in. Otherwise, other people are going to be trying to move into that area. And in fact, in some respects, they already have. I hope that explains it, Priscilla.
Thanks, Peter. What I was thinking about the same thing, but the point you're making to get the juniors with you when you have meetings, they will only learn on the job. And I believe in that.
And that's what Andrew Geddes is saying, yes.
You are leading by example, and start to respect the new staff and start to actually upgrade their skills. They're going to see how important it is and how the meetings are conducted. Gone are the days when the juniors sit in the corner of the office and nobody cares about him. These days, the juniors, they have to come out. The trainees, they have to come out and actually add value to the practice. So they can, because this is why they did choose this profession. And they would like to be the best of the best out there. Talking about your training package, I already talked to my group, and we will help ourselves to the training package to upgrade the skills of our team. In the new year, I'll start a new series. You're going to see, I will incorporate in my weekly training the package you talked about to teach them how to use business advisory services and leadership. I'm going to teach them from your platform. The material is there. We did hit it the other day, and I said, look, guys, this is what you're gonna learn next year. And they got excited. So how to learn the new tools like this? We do training programs for them.
Yep.
And so, as you said, hold their hand and come with us to the meetings and make a difference.
Yeah, it's very important. Just think back to when you were a young accountant yourself. I was very lucky. The partner in accounting firm that I first worked in after I graduated was company secretary to about 12 companies, 7 or 8 of which were public companies. They were small public companies. And he engaged me to basically look after those public companies, actually go to the board meetings. I was only very young. I didn't realize the training I was getting. Only 4 years later, maybe 5 years later, I was company secretary of a listed public company. And I often sat back and thought, geez, Cole trained me well. I was very appreciative. And that was because whenever there were meetings, I was sitting there. I was there to do a job. I wasn't just sitting there. It's you take the minutes, you take the notes, you keep the records. But obviously you got your ears opening and you're listening. And it taught me a lot. And I think that's how we all should treat our younger staff. Then when I got into a public company, I had a great mentor, one of the directors, internal directors. And I think that's what we've all got to aspire to be, thus older generation, experienced accountants. We've got to try to train these younger people if we as a profession are really going to handle the challenge of being the chief financial officers for the SME industry across Australia. And we're not that at this stage.
Yeah, we're going there slowly, but this is why we are launched this series, and we're gonna come back with new series in the new year after the recess. With Peter, we're gonna be always there for you. So, Peter, where accountants can find marketing tools. So, in your white paper, you are talking about two tools, two major tools you developed for them: Business Plus and Sme Needs Analysis paper. So, would you like to talk to us first about the Business Plus?
Business Plus, we've been writing that for over 10 years. We celebrated our 10th year a couple of months ago. Someone said to me in Sydney when we first talked about starting to write what then become known as Business Plus, oh, you'll run out of ideas in 12 months. I sent that guy an email when we got to our 10th year, and he was kind enough to congratulate us. It is difficult to keep on coming up with ideas, but the world changes, the market changes, and you've continually got coming to accountants a new generation of entrepreneurial clients, and they deserve to get information. A lot of them are inexperienced. Unfortunately, the failure rate is still very high. So we write Business Plus every month and upload it to our website on the second Friday of a month. We've only missed it twice in 10 years. For various reasons, we had to put it back a week. So it's uploaded. Our subscribers badge it with their name, their contact details. It doesn't mention ESS BizTools on it. That's quite deliberate. And then it's then able to be distributed by our subscribers to their clients and targets and anyone else that they want to send it to. So what's its purpose? It's a marketing tool for our accountancy members, our subscribers. It's undoubtedly a marketing tool because every article finishes with a call to action. If you are interested in understanding how the new Export Market Development Grant system works, please contact the accountant in our organisation that you normally deal with. And if one of our subscribers want to change that to put in, please contact Mary Jones, who is our Export Market Development Grant expert. They can do that. For your client's point of view, though, I like to think that our Business Plus newsletter is a reference library for them. In fact, someone did send me an email when we got to about the 8th year and said he'd kept every one of them if I needed them. Well, we've kept everyone also, and we have a full index. So I didn't need to get that from him, but that was great because he was using it he was a client. He wasn't an accountant. He'd been receiving these from one of our subscribers. So just to give you an idea, Priscilla, and for the people who are listening, in the November issue, which was uploaded last Friday, we talked about the new Export Market Development Grant. And I hope the accountants know that there is a new grant. The applications for it close on the 30th of November, less than 2 weeks away. We had articles on current business performance. How is your business going? Where we had various comments about key performance indicators, ratio, trying to get the clients to contact you if they have a concern. They're not going to contact me. They don't know who I am. They know you because this newsletter's got your name on it. It's come from you. We had a reference to benchmarking and said, will benchmarking help? And then I extracted the information out of benchmarking.com's report for the jewelry industry. So your clients can see what sort of information they could get if you were able to supply them benchmarking information. We then had an article on debtors management and then one on customer relationships and what would happen if, and this was just playing with the numbers, if the number of visitors to a retail shop increased by 5%, if they increase their spend by 2%, if the gross profit margin.
Sorry, Peter, 1 second. You did break up for 1 minute. Can you please repeat?
Oh, I broke up.
What you just said because the internet.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay,
just
so
one sentence back.
Well,
please.
we had benchmarking reports. We included the details so that the readers can see what might be included in a benchmarking report, because they may then turn around and say to their accountants, geez, I'd love to get that information. And I think most businesses would once they realize what's in it, because it's comparing them to their peers. Debtors management. I'm still alarmed at Australia's debtors days outstanding figure. We're still one of the highest in the world. And that's not good. Customer relationships, what would happen if we got 5% more people into our store, that we were able to adjust the price by 2% and so on. So it just gives the client the opportunity to see on a spreadsheet very quickly the subtle changes that can be made in a business. You don't have to go and increase prices by 20%, because what you're trying to do is work out what it's going to do to the bottom line. And we then looked at charge out rates. Obviously, charge out rates, I think, are a big issue. Every accountant in Australia, virtually, and especially all the smaller ones, have got tradie firms as clients. How long ago did you last look at what charge out rates they were using? Have you offered to sit down and go through their costs, their productivity, their wages, expenses, their holidays and time off that they're given? Because they're all different. And talk to them about what their markup is, their real markup that they make on external purchases they make for clients. And then look at what their targeted profit is and put it through the system so you can give them a schedule of charge out rates. But then your real opportunity is to then sit down and say, we should monitor this. I think every month, some people say every quarter, every month, and then so you prepare the monthly accounts for them and then sit down and have a business review meeting. And then you are offering real business assistance. You are doing what happens in the commercial world. And that's what I think we should be copying. We should be trying to introduce to our clients systems that they would have if they were 10 times bigger, so that they might justify the employment of a full-time accountant. So that's how I see it operating with Business Plus. Priscilla?
That's an amazing tool where members can actually rebrand the whole thing. Their newsletter, they don't have to write a newsletter, they already have it done for them. don't have to spend resources on building that, and just rebrand it. And as Peter said, use it and enjoy that marketing tool he built for us. And it's always up to date. Every 2 weeks, you're going to have that. Clients, they're going to think that you are the expert because you are using expert resources. And this is what we do. So we are very happy there. And so Peter also talks about, you talk about SME needs analysis paper you built. I did have a good look at it the other day. I did present it to my team. So tell us a bit more about that.
I've got to make a confession. It is based on, with his approval, a document that Andrew Geddes first produced at the University of New England a long time ago. We won't actually dob in how long ago it was, but it was a long time. Over the years, I used that document when I was still in practice, running an accounting firm, and we were offering what is now called business advisory services. And I said to Andrew one day, do you mind if I edit this and add some material? He said, by all means, just send me a copy. So I've always done that. So Andrew's often refers to the SME Needs Analysis because he's got the up-to-date one. What it is a series of points on a particular subject. It might be debtors management that you can sit down and discuss with a client. So Andrew always envisaged that this document, which is now probably about a dozen pages thick, so it's not so much throwing a dozen pages at someone. You might only be giving them a few pieces of it, but sitting down and having a cup of coffee with the client, using it as a prompt for you to raise questions with the client. Are they, you know, how's debtors going? Have they had any bad debts? Why did they have bad debts? You might find it was because they hadn't registered a particular customer on the personal property securities register. And then a liquidator was appointed to that customer. And then your client had to pay back monies that the liquidator claimed were preferential payments. So that might come out in that conversation. Now, you might not have known anything about that, just preparing the annual accounts and tax return, especially if you're lodging it on a cash basis. So then you could start talking to the client, well, has anyone got any appreciation in your organisation of how the personal property securities register works? Do you know we need to have 2 key documents signed by your new customer, terms of trade and retention of title agreements, and they need to be filed. So there's a whole process that you could go through, because the ignorance of the personal property securities register comes at a very high cost, about $450 million on my reckoning. 65 million of it was for the big end of town. One of the largest corporate groups in the world lost 65 million, rated in the top 100 international corporations. They didn't register an asset that they owned in Western Australia, and they lost it to a bank. So if the big end of town can lose that amount of money, it's a lot easier for SMEs to lose it. And I think SMEs have probably lost about $380 million through ignorance. So that's one of the areas there. Looking at the debtors days outstanding, what is it? I'm amazed at the number of SMEs that don't know that figure. I'm also very surprised at the number of accountants who cannot tell me what the client they just spoke to's debtors days outstanding is. Why? I suspect it's because it's not a figure the tax office asked for. So it's not included in the tax return. But it's probably one of the most important key performance indicators most of your clients have got. I think you should be asking your client to tell you what it is every month. So you need to show them how to calculate. So going through the SME needs analysis, we're touching on these issues. And basically every one of them can lead to a commercial assignment for you, because your client says, oh, well, can you have a look at that? I ran a seminar a few years ago under the sponsorship of Oz Industry on corporate governance. And I was in a mining town in Queensland. And a member of the audience said, because within the corporate governance issue, we talked about debtors. And this lady said to me, well, this debtors day is outstanding. What should the figure be? And I said, well, what sort of industry are you in? And they were in a motor vehicle repair type business. And I said, oh, 30 to 40 days. I said, what's yours? She said, I don't know. I said, oh, well, can't you calculate it? I don't know how to calculate it. She'd been with the same accountant for 7 years at that stage. No one had ever talked to her about debtors days outstanding. Cut the story short, Priscilla, when we calculated, it was 102 days. And I got involved with it. We've instigated some processes. We've now got it back to about 60 days. That's a significant cash flow benefit because the turnover is over $4.5 million. So that debtors ledger was enormous. And there was various ways. And part of it's having a proper system. So the SME needs analysis is trying, you're not going to get huge assignments. It's little bits and pieces that can lead to you doing some more work for your client. You're not going to walk in most of these clients and suddenly end up with a $40,000 job. That really doesn't happen unless they're really trying to raise capital, where they need business plans, budgets, cash flows, and corporate governance training, and a few other things. But I think the key to starting to offer business advisory services to clients is to get little pieces at a time. And the SME needs analysis has been designed to give you the ammunition to talk to your clients about and get them to react and say, oh, I'd like to know that. So hopefully that helps.
It is like adding value to your services. And so help yourself to amazing tools like we do. Are we promoting it? So what we believe, and we back Peter Towers' tools and all his work of a lifetime, because we are saving so much time. We do have training material for our team. This is what we do. And so getting inspired every day, because he builds new and new tools daily for us. So you talked about the marketing strategies. What do you think is the a successful marketing strategy should look like?
Oh, I think it's a mixture of a few things, Priscilla. Obviously, it's using Business Plus that we produce each month and sending it to your clients. But what I suggest is a subscriber reads it first. And if you've got two partners, they all read it. If you've got some managers who are working directly with clients, they read it first and go through. And there's normally about 6, maybe 7 articles. And I try to break the articles so there's something there for a startup business. There's something for someone who may be looking to really grow, doing scaling up. And in the middle, we've got the bulk of the articles. So go through them and read them first and note down who you think could be interested in that article. It's no use talking to someone that's not doing exporting about the Export Market Development Grant. We might have an article in there on research and development, because I use some of things like research and development as a bit of a kite. I fly it to see if anyone wants to grab it. Because every so often, one of my subscribers sends me a note and says, geez, we found someone that's really into research and development. They were about to go to a big 4 firm. And then they suddenly realized we're doing it. They're doing it because in our newsletter, we mentioned it. And I think that's important. So you go through and look at it, and then 4 or 5 days after you've sent the newsletter, you ring those clients. G'day, Bill. G'day, Mary. We sent you the newsletter. What did you think about that article on research and development? You told me you were doing some research. Is that going to help you? And very quickly, you hopefully are going to be able to convince your client that you do know something about research and development and that you can assist them, and that they don't go off, they don't need to go off and talk to a big 4 firm or someone else. So that's the then you follow up the articles. Now, some of them, it might be the client says, "I'll come back and talk to me in 6 months." Make sure you diarize it and go back and talk to them in 6 months. But how else can you promote? Your own website is very important, that you put information on your website. And these days, of course, with social media, next year on ESS BizTools, we're going to be supplying as a library, if you like, all of our posts that we put on social media, and we put a few each week. And if people want to, our subscribers want to play with them, re-edit them and use them again, they can do that, because it's all going to promote this concept that accountants can offer these types of services. You might want to talk to a communications expert, and we have one of them within our affiliate group who can write you some more specialized articles. And I think the other big area, Priscilla, is doing what we're doing here, running webinars. It's a great communication tool. Now that we've got products like Zoom, it's a lot easier. Now you need to make sure you've prepared your PowerPoint slides and you've practiced first, and that you're able to present a concept, and then again follow up with the audience. Send them the paper you've referred to, or contact them to see if they've got any questions or need any further information. Everything you do like this should be classified as a marketing activity, and marketing requires you to follow up. So that's how I'd be going about doing that, Priscilla.
It's great. So you promised some recording which we can share with our audience. Please send it over, because I will upload it on my social media.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we wanted to say about this, the modern practice model I'm developing for 5 years contains a state-of-the-art systems for compliance, but then the state-of-the-art tools which we use from SB's tools. So about the modern practice, we're going to talk about more next week, when we talk about innovation and how did we fit in the business advisory tools in our modern practice model, and how to promote it. Again, we talked about social media, digital marketing, Google business and stuff like that, working on it, and be active with reviews and stuff like that, Facebook. And I think we launched with Peter. I think we must be at least 25 sessions with you. We've been interrupted with COVID, and then we started to talk about COVID issues, but we are back to actually offer you the amazing tools which Peter developed for us. Talk to us about the offer and what our subscribers they're gonna get.
Yes, well, we have a special offer whereby we're looking at a discount on a package. Now, it includes the tradies charge out rate calculator, a retail pricing calculator, professional service firms. I mentioned the tradie charge out rates a little bit earlier, Priscilla. I think it's important that accountants are looking closely. You know, there's been a huge growth in tradie businesses around Australia, as a lot of big companies laid off tradesmen and they basically were forced to start their own businesses. They need assistance from accountants. Some of them won't, but most of them will. So the packages we've got here will get you started on a variety of business advisory services for SME businesses. There are 17 product packages in this particular package, and we've reduced the price by 50% to get it back to $999. But then we've got a special offer for your viewers, Priscilla, $900, and that's their 12 months access to this package. You also receive the Business Plus newsletter that we've been talking about, and you all receive the SME Needs Analysis, which I think is the most important document we have in our system, because you've got to be able to market and sell the concept of what you're doing to your clients. And the big challenge that all this is trying to assist you with is to remove the doubt that the client might have that you're very good at taxation and that's all you can do. Well, I think you've got to be really fighting that. And my suggestion to you is you also promote it in everything you'd say to your clients and on your own website. Just don't talk about taxation issues. Make sure you talk about other things. Export market development grant, research and development, government grants generally, succession planning. They're all important. And sometimes I don't think we fully appreciate just what some of our individual clients might be looking for at a particular time. By promoting it on your website, you are inviting them to have a better understanding of the services that you can provide. So that's the package.
So our members, they can get a special offer. That's why we are here, because I believe these are invaluable tools. What you pay for, it is just symbolic for the value you're getting for it. And then if you would like to subscribe, Peter gave us the way to do that. All our members, they're gonna get the instructions how and what kind of discount code to apply. SBTools.com.au, and you will find the package. Talked about we call it starter package, isn't it, Peter?
Yeah, this is the business advisory services starter package.
Yeah.
So if you just go on to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, click on the starter package, and you'll have to insert that code that's shown there, BASSPCLOUD, and that will give you access to that, and then the system will work for you, because
amazing.
That's not the normal price, obviously.
Yeah, so Peter is packaging his service, his tools for us to help us. If you just want to start, can you imagine the amazing resources you already have to start with? Peter said with less than $20 a week, isn't it? This comes down to.
That's right. I did do a calculation, depends on what your charge out rate is, of course, as a partner, but it's only a fraction of a 6-minute unit, isn't it? And that's a week. So half of one of your 6-minute units that you're charging out to a client, that will give you the service. Now, we want you to use it. We want you to be confident in the use. We give you 2 one-hour mentoring sessions on using the system, and you can pay for more if you want them. And the first thing I want you to do is to start using it with your team and generate enough money that you've recovered what you're paying to ESS BizTools, and then continue to offer the services. I think most accounting firms in Australia should be able to generate at least $50,000 per annum from offering these types of services, and some are generating a lot more than that, well over 100,000, 200,000, and so on. But you've got to get started. Please don't buy this and put it in the bottom drawer and forget about it, or put it on the shelf. I've seen software stuck on shelves in accountancy firms all over Australia over the years. I don't want ESS BizTools being treated like that. This is serious. I think we need to be using these sorts of resources to help your SME clients add value to their businesses. And incidentally, supply very interesting work for your accountants. Go back to what I referred to earlier as to what Andrew Geddes had to say. As to one of the reasons, and probably the main reason, accountants have now got this problem with staff. recruiting accountants. The modern generation just will not sit there and do tax returns all day. I'm very sorry, but that's the situation. I talk to some of these young ones, they're not going to do it. And now as the commercial world is opening back up after the COVID-19 problems, a lot of them have not been doing much for 2 years. They're going to be out in the marketplace looking for people. I think it's going to be very difficult to, first of all, attract new people into your firms. And secondly, you'll have to have a good look at what you're doing, what the interesting work is for some of your younger accountants to keep them interested.
So if you need advice, and you can find us, you can book a free strategy meeting. We are generous with our time. You can find us here, book a meeting if you want to know more. I am happy to demonstrate a platform for you to see the value you're getting from it. And then we'll be back on the 30th of November with session 6. And then we start to, we'll talk about diversified services. Your firm, I meant to say, not firm, your firm can communicate to clients, how to assist clients in the innovation journey. And this is where my modern practice model comes in. We can actually, I can talk to you about the innovation, which is going to help the team and benefit your clients the way you can run it in these challenging times, but how to come on the top of it. So enjoy the series, and we keep adding new material to it. Peter promised us a new recording, and we'll attach it to this recording for you.
Yes, I will do that and send that through. So thank you very much, Priscilla. Thank you to the people listening live and to the people who are listening on this video at a later time. And as Priscilla said, if you've got any questions, please contact us. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. So we bring it back again. Thanks for your attendance, and thanks, Peter, for your time. We do appreciate having you live with us.
Thanks, Priscilla. Thank you.
It
Goodbye.
is a privilege. Thanks,
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.